I would now like you to watch the following video and answer the questions in the workbook that you have. Ensure that you pause the video when prompted to do so, enabling you time to answer the questions. If you need to revisit the information, then you can just rewind the video to the section that you require. I would now like you to answer the following exam questions. You will need your case study booklets that you were given at the start of the year in order to do so. Pause the video on the specific exam question that you are answering. Complete the answer in your workbook. Once you have an answer, press the play button to receive feedback and mark your own answer. Okay, so to answer this question, first of all, we must ensure that we understand what the question is asking us. So, it is asking us to calculate the break-even quantity. Break-even quantity meaning the amount of products that Echo must sell in order for total revenue to equal total costs. As the question is asking for the break-even quantity, I would start by displaying my knowledge by writing down the formula for break-even. So, break-even equals fixed costs divided by contribution per unit. To work out contribution per unit, it's just the selling price minus the variable cost. Remember, you're calculating this for option 2, so the selling price is £6 and the variable cost is £2.25, which makes the contribution per unit £3.75. The fixed costs are given to you, which are 30,000. So you then divide this by the contribution per unit, which will show you that in order to break even, Echo Accessories, in regards to option 2, will have to sell 8,000 units. Therefore, 8,000 units is the correct answer, which will give you 5 marks. Take a look at the marks awarded for this question. 7 marks for one calculation question. The reason for this is that you are required to calculate the change in break-even. Okay, so in order to do so, you will have to calculate the break-even quantity for 2011 and 2012 and then state the change that has occurred. For calculating just the break-even for 1 year, the most you can achieve is 4 marks. Again, show the examiner your understanding of break-even by providing the formula. Break-even equals fixed costs divided by contribution per unit. To work out the contribution per unit for 2011, all we need to do is take the variable cost away from the selling price. So, the variable cost is £5.10, the customer spend is £15.60, so the contribution per unit will equal £10.50. This now allows us to work out the break-even quantity for 2011 as the fixed costs are 63,000 divided by the contribution per unit, which we've worked out is £10.50. So in 2011 the break-even quantity will be 6,000 customers. However, the question is asking for the change, so we must now work out the break-even quantity for 2012. As stated in the question and the case study, variable costs are predicted to fall by 10%. 10% of the original variable cost of £5.10 is 51 pence. So the new variable cost figure will now be £4.59. This now enables us to work out the new contribution per unit figure, which will be £15.60 minus £4.59, which now changes the contribution per unit to £11 and a penny. Fixed costs have remained the same from the previous year, 63,000, divided by £11 and a penny, gives us an answer of 5,722. However, the question is asking for the change, so we now have to take the original 6,000 customers for 2011 and minus the new break-even quantity for the following year of 5,722 to get our answer, which is the change, which should equal 278 fewer customers. This will give you the full 7 marks for an answer of 278 fewer customers. This is a question in relation to total contribution. In lesson, we have covered contribution per unit and total contribution. In order to work out total contribution, we first must work out the contribution per unit. To do so, contribution per unit is just the selling price minus the variable cost. By calculating the contribution per unit, this then allows us to calculate the total contribution, as all we need to do then is to take the contribution per unit and multiply it by the number of units sold. I have warned you in lessons that sometimes you have to look outside of the data tables to find all of the information, whether that's quantitative or qualitative. So let's now work out the contribution per unit for Pierre's t-shirts. Okay, so as we said, contribution per unit is the selling price, okay, which is £9.20 as stated in figure 1, minus the variable costs. Okay, so in figure 1 it tells you that the variable cost per t-shirt will be £3.29. However, in the following paragraph it also states that there will be an additional 50p added onto this. So therefore, to work out the contribution per unit, we have to do £9.20 minus £3.79, which gives us a contribution per unit of £5.41. This additional 50p has thrown many students in the past. However, by carrying on the formula and not including the extra 50p variable costs, students can still receive 2 marks. Now that we have the contribution per unit, we can work out the expected total contribution. The total contribution is just the number of units expected to be sold, which in this instance is 9,000, multiplied by the contribution per unit, which is £5.41. So this gives us a total contribution, and for 3 marks, if the pound sign has been omitted, you lose a mark. £48,690.